Soderberg. Thank you for viewing this presentation about Employee Assistance Program benefits. It's kind of a mouthful. I'm with DOR. We're a Minneapolis-based organization, and we've been providing Employee Assistance Program benefits since 1978. And I'm here to talk to you today about our EAP, as it's commonly referred to, that is going to become available for Soderberg to provide to partners and try to explain how it works. And in the future, I'll be available for any questions. So we can get started. I guess what I'd like to do initially is just mention that Soderberg has been using our EAP for many, many years. I think it's at least 12 or 15 years. I forget the exact number, but we provide EAP to Soderberg employees anywhere in the country today, and we provide EAP services to employees all around the country, and we even have a few clients that have employees outside of the U.S. But EAP, some folks simply don't know what it is, don't know how it really fits in, but it really, at its core, has to do with making and helping employees be as productive as possible in their job. And there's a lot of different things we can all think about that can distract us and prevent us from focusing on our job. And just briefly, I'll mention that EAP got started back in the 1940s in the automobile industry, and it had to do with the employees wanting to take care of each other, kind of in a union environment. There was fair amount of drinking apparently that was occurring, and so employees wanted to be able to support and help their fellow coworkers, so they kind of started this sort of EAP-based services that they were able to help each other, and eventually it just expanded into more of a commercial product. And EAP is provided today by many, many firms like ours. It is also provided in conjunction with a lot of HMOs and health plan providers out there, for example, Blue Cross and Medica or Aetna, any of the large providers like that. They'll often provide some sort of an EAP in conjunction with their health plan. But so if we focus on EAP and how it really fits into a company, because my understanding is Soderberg has a lot of partners that range in size from maybe 10 or 15 employees on up to several hundred employees. And in our experience, companies with less than 100 employees, usually only about 50% of those size companies have an EAP today. The bigger the company, usually the more likely that there is to be an EAP. And it probably, for companies with thousands of employees, it's probably getting into the 85, 90, 95% range. But where does an EAP fit in? And I've got some examples on the screen. For example, when one spouse learns that the other spouse has been having an affair, that obviously is going to create a lot of stress and tension. We get a lot of counseling sessions for that, because what EAP is intended to do is provide short-term counseling for lots of different problems or issues, and also provide a lot of professional development and training. So on this screen, it has examples of situations that have occurred for clients of ours. A male employee starts yelling at coworkers, maybe in the factory floor or the office environment. Well, not only is the coworkers going to be intimidated and maybe want some counseling on how to deal with that, but the male employee may be formally referred by their supervisor that if they want to stay in their job, they're going to have to come in and get some counseling from DOR. Another situation would be drug or alcohol testing. We write the drug policy for many of our clients and then help implement and provide that to the employees. And so not only can we provide the assessment, which then can refer them to different drug or alcohol programs, but we help enforce the program for them as well. Layoffs, unfortunately, have occurred a lot over the past few years, and we provide a lot of support not only to the HR staff, because they are very stressed out and usually don't want to have to be delivering the news that somebody's losing their job, but obviously the employees that are are being laid off. It doesn't get much more stressful than that, and we usually are on site when that's happening to advise the HR staff on how best to communicate this news and also to help support the employees. And then from a training perspective, we do a lot of different training. It may be training specifically geared to supervisors on different particular issues that they are facing in their environment at their offices. We may do a lunch and learn, for example, on sexual harassment, where you get 15 or 20 employees in the conference room over lunch, and we'll go through for an hour and talk with them about sexual harassment issues, how to deal with it, and how to manage it, how to avoid it. And then another example would be getting assessed for depression and anxiety. And this takes the form and obviously impacts work, because if an employee is having trouble sleeping for some reason, maybe their son or daughter is being bullied in school, and so this is keeping them up at night. It might be preventing them from getting to work on time. So a lot of times an employee can call into DOR. We've got an 800 number. They call in. They would just set up an appointment and come in and meet the employer, and oftentimes never knows, unless the employee tells the employer would never know that a certain employee called in or came in to visit with DOR, because it's part of our obligation to not disclose somebody's identity or their visits to DOR. And so in other situations, the HR staff will tell an employee, why don't you go talk to DOR, and obviously there may be some knowledge there. But so these are some examples of where an EAP can fit into the work family environment. And I should mention that EAP can come into play not only for the employees, but each of the family members of the employees as well. So if there's a son or a daughter that has some stressful issues, or the spouse of the employee, they can also come in and see any of our counselors or utilize the training as well. EAP can be very beneficial as it relates to health problems, because stress does cause upwards of 70% of most physical ailments that folks have, whether it's heart issues, blood pressure, dietary problems. EAP can not only help resolve these, it can head off some major issues, and there's been a lot of studies that talk about how avoiding stressful situations, managing it better, just helps reduce health problems in general. And so we have seen through studies that have reported that healthcare costs can be controlled and reduced by aggressive use of an EAP. And I say that because in some of our clients, the HR staff, they may just keep the EAP kind of in the background and not always promote it that much, whereas other clients are promoting it on a regular basis. And we help our clients promote it as much as possible. For example, on a monthly basis, we send out a notice of a webinar that's coming up in December, and we would have seasonal webinars that are also notified. So we send out these emails, and in some cases, we send them directly to all the employees. In other situations, we just send them to the HR director, manager, VP, and then it's up to them to send it out. So we send out this information because the more that the folks who use the EAP, the better off they're going to be at managing any particular stressful situations that come up. And if you think of an EAP compared to healthcare, for example, there is no copay. So if somebody comes in to visit one of our counselors, they don't pay whatever their standard, say, $20 copay. That does not apply in the EAP environment. And we're not making a medical assessment, so to speak. So there's no record for healthcare purposes or healthcare costs that is going to show up. So it's not like a visit or a claim that goes against your healthcare costs. And if somebody is really stressed out, maybe they're not eating, they don't have an appetite, they may go visit their doctor for that, and it may not be a physical problem that's causing the dietary issue. It may just be stress. So rather than do that, they can come visit the EAP, get this assessed, get some short-term counseling, and it may clear it all up. So in a lot of ways, this can help reduce your healthcare visits and claims that can arise. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the most important things that an EAP does is help increase the productivity. And if you think of productivity in the sense that maybe you're bringing on a new, younger employee, we have over 95 different online classes that our clients can access through the website. And each Soderberg partner would get their own password access to our website. And there's just tons of information and resources available on there. For example, when Hurricane Sandy hit the East Coast, we have a number of clients that have offices and employees out in that part of the country. And so there was a lot of information on the website about how to deal with different things around preparing for the hurricane, after the hurricane hit, how they could access different resources through the government. So depending upon what's happening around the country, from that perspective, we usually have very specific information on there, but there's also lots of training and other resources available. And so with EAP usage, a couple different studies, again, have noted the impact that it will have, and in 57% of cases, there's been an improvement in the ability to work more productively after using an EAP. Presenteeism is a term that's becoming much more widely known because it really relates to the fact that if you've got internet access on your desktop or your laptop, a lot of the folks are not always working. They may be doing things, looking on the internet at sports scores or looking up the latest news on something, and EAP can help not only with presenteeism issues, but tardiness and reduced absences. Work cutback days can be reduced quite significantly as well, because again, if you think about how stress can impact somebody, how it makes them not want to go to work perhaps, or just be distracted, EAP, someone coming in and visiting with one of our counselors to get some ways to resolve whatever the problem is that they may be facing at the time, can just really make an impact and help them focus on their job and be as productive as possible. Just to mention that a couple of things about DOR, and we've been doing this since 1978, and so we've been working with hundreds of different companies in all different industries over the years, whether it's the banking industry, the legal community. We do a lot of work with lawyers and other professional, perhaps higher stressed occupations. And the customer service part of it is really important. So when people call into our 800 number, they're either going to get one of our counselors or they're going to get one of the assistants that can help coordinate connecting with a counselor. But our 800 number is always available 24/7, obviously 7 days a week. So folks just call in, and we'll be able to get directed in a lot of different ways, whether it's maybe it's a legal or another issue, and you can get assistance for legal issues through our service. So it can be a lot of different things that we can address. And if we focus specifically now on what Soderberg's going to be providing, as I've mentioned, short-term counseling, it can be done over the telephone, or folks can come in, visit in person, either to one of our offices. We also have affiliations and partnerships with counselors all around the country. So if there's a partner in Iowa or Wisconsin, Ohio, anywhere else in the country that you have an employee, maybe they're traveling someplace, we can connect them up with a counselor and have a face-to-face counseling session set up, or of course the phone number is always available as well. Work and family-related resources. As I mentioned, this does apply to family members, and I want to underscore that because perhaps you have students, kids that are in school right now, they're looking for jobs. There's a lot of job-related resources on there that'll help people write better resumes and help them find jobs. The training courses, as I mentioned previously, people can just log on and they can pick from up to 95 different courses that are available. Some of our clients use these training courses as a stepping stone to a promotion or to getting a next grade up in their job. Because at the end of the training course, it's usually anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes long. You can you get a certificate basically that says that you just completed this course. Monthly and seasonal webinars, I mentioned that earlier. We send out this information on a monthly basis, and it just helps not only the clients promote it, but it also provides some often useful information. Then we will also provide usage reports. As I mentioned earlier, one of the most critical aspects of an EAP is confidentiality. We will not disclose anybody's name to the employer. And when we send out a report, all it is simply showing is, for example, 23 people visited the website for family matters, maybe 18 people visited the website to do a training course. So all it's doing is listing out the number of hits, for example, on the website. It may list out that 4 people called in or visited a counselor, but again, it never mentions the name of anybody, so it's completely confidential unless the employee discloses it on their own. We're never going to disclose it. And then the last thing I would mention is that we provide a lot of different services in addition to what the Soderberg partners would have access to. And this would, the additional EAP service could be, for example, let's just say there was a death in the workplace or maybe a death of a coworker and you wanted to have grievance counseling, for example. We do a lot of that. Had one session like that this week, unfortunately, where one of our clients had an employee, long-term employee that had died, and we were on site at 2 of their locations with a counselor ready and available to meet with anybody that wanted to talk about it. Banks face robberies, other retail operations, and so when something like that happens, we'll go on site and provide that sort of crisis counseling. And so those are examples of different services we can provide above and beyond. And if a partner wants to take advantage of that, they could just contact us and we would contract with them directly to take care of that. So my name's Todd Lindberg, and if there's ever any questions, you can contact me. The 800 number is on this last screen, and Soderberg, obviously, they have an 877 number that you can call in, but you can also email me with any questions, and if I can't answer it, I will get you to the right person. So thank you for taking time to listen to this presentation, and again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.